Hello, friends. Welcome to today's football predictions on Betcraft. All right, it's another very beautiful Tuesday morning, and we've come once again with our predictions for you today on matches that's going on across the globe. All right, yesterday we had another very successful outing. Seeing that the entire predictions that we had yesterday were actually on point. All of the games were just the way we predicted them, and kudos to those of us who played that game, and congratulations to all of you. All right, today once again we'll go again, and today we have Major League African Nations Cup qualifying matches and also UEFA Nations League matches. All right. In a short while, we'll be looking at these matches one after the other, but I want those of us who are coming across our video for the first time to kindly take our time to hit the subscription button down there so that you wouldn't be missing out on our subsequent games that will always come up on this very channel on a daily basis. Okay. All right. Without further ado, let's get to the business of today. And today we'll be starting with the first match, which is in the African Cup of Nations qualified match. We'll have Niger Republic will be facing Angola. Okay, as usual, we'll take a look at recent games for both sides and also look at their performances from home and away perspective before coming to our verdict for each of these very games. All right, when you look at Niger Republic, the home side, in the last 6 games that they had so far, they've actually lost 3 out of those 6, but they've had 3 draws as well. They've not won a single match in the last 6 recent games. All right, that's Niger Republic, the home side. And for their away side, Angola, in the last 6 games that they had, they've actually won the entire 6 games that they had in recent times. That tells you that this, a team in very fine form at the moment. All right, they've won the entire 6 games. Okay, when you look at how these two teams have fared from home and away perspective, you can see that Niger Republic, the home side, have actually won 4 games in the last, 10 home matches, but they've had 1 draw and they've lost 5 games out of the past 10 home games that they had so far. All right, that tells you that 50% of the home matches have resulted to a loss for the home side. And looking at Angola, on the other hand, the away side have actually won 4 games in the past 10 away games. They've had as well 4 draws and have lost 2 games out of the past 10 away games that they had so far. And as a matter of fact, the last 3 away games that they played out saw them winning all 3 away games. They had a victory. The last away game they played was against Ghana. We saw Angola beating Ghana on that occasion by 1-0. And prior to that, we saw them defeating Comoros and also beating Lesotho by 3-1. All right, that tells you a lot about this side, and it is a side that is in fine form. And the first meeting for both sides, which happened earlier this month, we saw Angola beating Niger Republic from home by 2-0. All right, and that tells you that Angola is actually the better side in this one, and in this very encounter, we expect to see a minimum of away side winning or drawing, but there's not going to be plenty goals in this. It's going to be under 3.5. So away to win or draw and under 3.5. That's all for that very encounter. All right, that takes us to the next, and it is also in African Cup of Nations qualified match. We'll have Mauritania, who will be up against Egypt. Okay, Mauritania in the last 6 have won just 1 game. They've had 1 draw, but they've lost 4 matches in the last 6 encounters that they had. And we side Egypt have won 4 games out of those 6, losing 1 and as well as drawing 1 in the last 6 recent games that they had. And looking at how these two teams have performed, playing from home and away respectively, you can see that for Mauritania, the home side, they've actually achieved 5 victories in the last 10 home games that they had. And they've also had 4 losses as well as 1 draw in the last 10 home games that they had so far. All right, the last home game they played saw them beating Botswana by 1-0. All right, and looking at Egyptian side, the away side, have actually been able to manage to achieve 5 victories from away. They've also had 2 draws as well as 3 losses in the last 10 away games that they had so far. All right, the last away game they had, which was against Botswana, saw Egypt, beating Botswana comprehensively by 4-0 that occasion. And that tells you a lot about this Egyptian side. And the last time both teams met was also last week. We saw Egypt playing from home on that occasion, defeating Mauritania by 2-0. All right, and when you put all that together, you know that the Egyptian side is actually the side quite favorable to achieve a result in this very one. And we also expect to see a away side either winning or draw, and yet on that 3.5. In that very encounter. All right, away win or draw, another trade up. That's our verdict for that very game. Okay, that takes us to the next for today. It is in South American, World Cup qualifying match. We'll have Colombia, who will be facing Chile in World Cup qualifying match, and the Colombia side have actually won 3 games in the last 6 matches. They've also had 2 losses as well as 1 draw in the last 6 games that they had so far. And looking at the Chile side have only managed 2 draws in the last 6 matches, but have lost 4 out of those 6 games that they played in recent times. And when you look at how these two teams are fared from home and away perspective, you could also see that Colombia side have been very fantastic of recent, and that they've done so well, seeing that they've won 9 games in the last 10 home games that they had so far, and the other one being a 2-2 draw against Uruguay. We saw them beating the likes of Brazil, and we saw them also beating Argentina in the last home matches that they played. They were able to defeat Argentina on that occasion by 2-1. Right? When you look at Chile, their away side, on the other hand, have only managed to achieve just a single victory in the last 10 away games that they had, and they've also had 4 draws, but they've lost 5 games in the last 10 away games. And the last away game they had was against Argentina. We saw them losing out that game by 3-0, against Argentina. That was the last away match that they had, and looking at a head-to-head perspective, you could see that the last time both teams met, it was Chile who played from home on that occasion. That was in September last year. We saw them playing out a 0-0 draw. But the last time Colombia played from home was in 2021, and we saw Colombia beating the side from home by 3-1. But we also know that Colombia is in fine form at the moment. A team that was able to defeat the world champions Argentina is expected to rise to the occasion in this very one and win this match out shortly. So it is the home side to win on this very game. So home win, that's our party for that very encounter. Okay, that takes us to the next, and that takes us to the Europe UEFA Nations League, where we have Scotland, who will be up against Portugal. Okay, and looking at Scotland in the recent games that they had in the last 6, they are able to manage just a single draw, but have lost 5 games out of the last 6 matches that they had so far. And looking at Portugal, their away side, they've won 3 games in the last 6. They had also 2 draws, as well as 1 loss in the last 6 matches that they had. All right, when you take a look at the performances of these teams from home and away perspective, you could see that Scotland have actually managed 3 victories in the last 10 home games that they had. They've had 3 draws as well, and they've lost 4 games in the last the last 10 home matches that they had. Not the best sides even when playing from home, and the last 2 home games that they had so far have resulted to a loss for the Scottish side. Seeing that they lost to Hungary by 1-0, also losing to Poland by 2-3 that occasion. Okay, but taking a look at the away side, Portuguese side, Portugal have actually been able to manage 7 victories in the last 10 away games that they had, and they've also lost 3 games in the last 10 away games that they had. And the last away game they had was against Poland. We saw Portugal beating Poland on that occasion by 3-1. Right, that tells you a lot. And also, in contrast, the last home game for Scotland was against Poland also, but they lost that game by 3-2. And taking a look at how these two teams fared on head-to-head perspective, you could see that the last time they met, it was Portugal who played from home, and Portugal won on that occasion by 2-1. That was also last month. Okay, prior to that, in 2018, Portugal was able to defeat Scotland by 3-1. That was in friendly, and when you put all this together, we know that the Portuguese side is actually expected to rise to the occasion, seeing that they possess good quality players, and they're expected to win this match outrightly. It is their way side to win in this very game outrightly. And we win. That's all right for that very encounter. All right, that takes us to the next, which happened to be the last for the day. Also in Europe, UEFA Nations League, where we have Poland, who will be facing Croatia. Okay, Poland in the last 6 have won just 1 game. They've also had 1 draw, but have lost 4 matches out of the past 6 recent encounters. All right, and the way side, Croatia have managed 2 wins and also 2 draws, as well as 2 losses in the last 6 matches that they had so far. All right, when you look at the performances from home and away perspective, you can see that for Poland, the home side have actually won 5 games from home, and have lost 3, and have had 2 draws. And as a matter of fact, the last 3 home games that they played saw them losing out all 3 to Portugal, Austria, and Netherlands. Okay, when you look at Croatia, on the other hand, Croatia have won 6 games in the last 10 away games that they had so far, but have lost 2. They've lost 3 games out of it, and also they had 1 draw, which was in a friendly match against Tunisia. Okay, and also, what you have noticed is the fact that for the home side, Poland, the last 6 home games that they played produced lots of goals, minimum of over 2.5 in the last 6 home games that they had, and their away side also in the last 4 away games that they had have actually produced minimum of over 2.5. Some of them having so much amount of goals, and um, putting all that together. All right, even though we know that the last time both teams met, it was Croatia who won that on that occasion by 1-0 against Poland. But the goals comes to play in this very one, seeing that on recent times both teams have been scoring and conceding as well. So we expect to see lots of goals in this very encounter, and it is at over 2.5. That's all valid for that very game. Okay, minimum of 3 goals. That's what we expect. All right, that brings our predictions for you today on Betcraft to a conclusion. I wish you the very best of luck. And also remember to play responsibly. It is only a football game. Sometimes, not things do happen. All right. That being said, tomorrow is another day, and we'll be coming up with our predictions on this very channel. Do not miss out. But until then, keep winning.